Have you ever wondered how Jerry's playing changed over the years? Well, I wanted to find out, so I transcribed solos from 1980 and 1990. I'm going to show you the key differences between the two and how you can add some of the tactics to your own playing. But first, let's give them a listen. Now, the first thing to keep in mind is that these are just, one solo from 1980, one solo from 1990. So it's not going to, be exactly how he was soloing in these time periods. You got to take it all with a grain of salt. But it will give us a little glimpse into kind of like, the differences between 80 and 90 and stuff with this one tune. And there are three kind of main things I'd say that both of them have. And the first one is a lot of half steps. So a lot of half step bends. So playing this note to here, bending up there a lot, things like that, bending to the blue note. So he'd be doing a lot of half step bends or just hammer-ons and pull-offs and things like that, like he always does. And then chord tones, just emphasizing those chord tones, in that B minor, playing that B, D, that flat third, and then on the E chord, he'd be outlining that chord a lot. As well. And then the third thing that he just did all the time was just chromatics, just like, leading up to that note there, going back down to it. However, just lots and lots of chromatics. And if you're into Jerry's approach to soloing, you'll love the Jerry Garcia 5-Day Challenge. It's totally free, and it will help you apply his tactics to develop your own sound, which to me, it's like the most important thing, really, So check out the link below and jump in. Now, let's take a trip back in time to 1980. The solo from Go to Heaven, the studio version, specifically the first solo. That's what we've heard so far. And that is, to me, kind of like a tiger, like crouching real low. It's like creeping forward and then with bursts, of motion. And it's like each step is like super, like very deliberate and precise because, when I transcribed this, I just went through it. Wasn't too challenging, for me. And, but then when I went to actually like get it up to speed to play along with the track, like performance level, the thing I struggled with the most by far was the timing of the phrases, and it's like, it was so intentional, like a tiger taking those steps, like knowing exactly where it's going to step, that's a challenging thing. It's the thing, probably the most important overlooked thing when it comes to playing leads, that people don't look at rhythm and the timing of phrases. That first one right there, it's just that, it's just got a certain feel to it, and being able to copy it, it's helpful, but really it's just good to just walk away with a better sense of timing of your own phrases and just how you do things, so you're not just kind of playing through however and just focusing on the notes. Now, the second one was something that I really heard in this version that he didn't really do in the next one that I'm going to look at, but let's just hear a clip from it again, just the first half. So it's kind of this call and response. So the whole thing, it's that first line through, it's like a question. And the second time through is an answer. And then the second, the next one, another question, another answer. And that's the whole solo. It's just a question, answer, or a call, response, however you want to think of it. And that just kind of summarizes, the whole solo like that. Now, we're really scratching the surface of Jerry's soloing so far, but if you want to go even deeper, again, that Jerry 5-Day Challenge, it's free, and it's about helping you apply ideas like this and so many more. So just hit the link down below if you want to get started. Now we're going to go a little bit forward in the future, but yet still back in time to 1990. This is the third solo from the Without a Net version. This is, probably my favorite from the album. This one and Eyes of the World. I feel like they were just on fire, and Jerry particularly with his solos are so good from that album. And this one is different. It's a little bit more like, it's like an eagle, catching a gust of wind, it's like effortlessly kind of just gliding through like the open sky, covering a lot more ground with ease. And, how did he do that? Well, let's take a look. Well, it's a lot less bluesier than the earlier one. It's more graceful, and the note total is 88, which I forgot to mention, the other one has 62. So it's the same pretty much tempo and the same amount of time. So he puts in more notes. He's being a lot faster. That's why he's kind of covering a lot more ground by playing faster and stuff. And a big part of the sound I forgot to mention, and the other one too, is that he was using, I think, a flanger. He's got that. It could be, sorry, I'm using a phaser. It could be a flanger. I'm not sure. If you know in the comments, let us know down below. But I'm just using that MXR Phase 90 is the closest thing I could get out of the pedals I have to that sound. But this one, he's using a delay. He's got that, right? And that gives it a little bit more of that open air kind of big arena sound and stuff. So those are two differences. And then he starts off right away with a thing I call the 4-pull, like this, right? And it's technically actually 3 pull-offs. It's 4 notes, but it's really actually 3 pull-offs. But a lot of times he plays it like that, but more often he plays it like this with the 3rd finger. So you get your stronger fingers and then slides the last one, right? So I should change the name of that. Maybe it's a 2 pull, 1 slide, I don't know. That's more of a mouthful. But that's a key part of it. Just starts the solo off right away. This is exactly what he does for Eyes of the World too, from that Without a Net album, except right down here going to that major 7th. Right? The same exact thing. So he repeats a lot of the same things, a lot more than people might think. So he's got the delay, he's got that 4-pull right out the gate, does it a few more times in the middle of the solo. And then another thing is 6th. So that is the distance between 2 notes. These notes right here, or it's a particular type of distance, particular interval. And he does it just going down the scale, right? So not exactly that, but that's the idea. That is something that in the other version definitely didn't do anything like that. So that is a key characteristic. And now something that between the both of them, they would both do. Take a listen to this and see what it is. So they both ended with kind of the same lick, pretty similar. It's like a bluesy thing, right? Just right around that E chord there, that E, or you can think of it as an E7, and it's just, right? And they were so similar, so it's like, it's very romanticized, as I always say about Jerry's playing, that like, oh, he was doing something different all the time, and I really do not think that's true. He would play a lot of the same ideas and same approaches all the time, and that's normal. You don't want like things to literally be different every single time. If it was completely different, it wouldn't even be music. You need repetition to make something be musical. And that's just a good example of no matter what he's doing in the middle of the solo, it may be very different from solo to solo, but ending with a very similar lick and ending right on the root, like more often than not. And it could be within the solos of the tune, could be with it, night after night, he's playing a similar lick. And then even here, like a decade later, and he's ending the solo with a similar lick, even though there's all this other stuff that may be different. And, transcribing these solos, it really helped me gain so much more insight into Jerry's playing. But these were actually only 2 out of 30 solos from Jerry that I learned in just 15 days. So check out this video here where I share what I learned after transcribing 4,277 notes.